Last night, Monday Night Raw emanated from the iconic Madison Square Garden in New York City. The main event, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk in a steel cage match. From the first day CM Punk stepped back into WWE at the Survivor Series in 2023, this collision course between Rollins and Punk was set then. Well, actually set a few years before then. But when CM Punk came out and Seth Rollins had just gotten done with War Games and there were 5 other people there, nobody knew Punk was coming. Not even the people in the ring. WWE kept that a secret. Seth Rollins was physically distraught, screaming and yelling. And about 8 months before that, when Punk was having all kinds of trouble with All Elite Wrestling after the Young Bucks incident, which we're going to make a video about that just disaster of a shit show one day. Rollins was asked about Punk rejoining WWE, and Rollins has said that he was a cancer and he did not want him. These two men genuinely do not like each other. Well, I think it's more Rollins than Punk. But the old Memphis promoter Jerry Jarrett had a sign in his office one time that read, "Real live issues draws money." So it's only smart if two people really have a personal issue to put them in a program because there's going to be an intensity there. So they had the first match on the January 6th premiere of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Hold on, let's backtrack a little bit. Rollins and Punk had a war words for about a month until the Royal Rumble of 2024. Well, CM Punk gets injured in that Royal Rumble match. So, throughout this period when Punk is hurt, there's this friction on screen going on with Punk and Drew McIntyre, and then you had this friction going on with Punk and Rollins, and the Punk and McIntyre thing all got settled after Punk came back. They had a couple matches that then led into the Hell in a Cell match, which blew off that feud. It was a good 3-match series. So that gave us the opportunity to get into Punk and Rollins. They started to heat things up a few weeks before the Netflix premiere. Had the Netflix premiere, Punk wins that. So for about the last month and a half, 2 months since the January 6th premiere, the focus has been on Punk and Rollins until the Royal Rumble this year. Seth Rollins has had issues with Roman Reigns for 8 years. But Rollins has this just mental thing with Roman Reigns. Can't get over the dude. He's like a jilted ex-girlfriend. Just can't stop thinking about him. But Reigns gets eliminated from the Royal Rumble. Punk and Rollins get eliminated from the Royal Rumble at the same time. Punk eliminated Rollins and Reigns. And then Punk got eliminated by Logan Paul. Well, while the 3 of these guys are out on the floor after being eliminated, Roman Reigns is getting up, and Rollins just runs and curb stomps this dude straight onto the floor. But there's still this issue with Punk and Rollins going on. So, we knew this thing with Punk and Rollins was getting ready, or at least this chapter of it, was getting ready to wind down. Because we had a feeling that it was going to be after the Royal Rumble, Rollins and Reigns and WrestleMania. But how were they going to get there? And how would Punk be involved? Because for a few weeks there were rumors that Punk was going to be involved in the match with Cena and Cody, and they were going to turn that into a 3-way. And then you would hear rumblings about Punk working with Logan Paul at WrestleMania. Then you would hear rumblings about Punk, Rollins, and Reigns. Well, last night the road became a little bit clearer. The steel cage match between Rollins and Punk, which was a look. I mean, you can't really compare. Now I've seen this. One people saying like which match was better, like the cage match between Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher Sunday night at AEW Revolution, or the cage match the night later on Monday Night Raw between Seth Rollins and CM Punk. They were two different matches. They were two different styles of matches. You can't compare the two. Really. Like, Punk and Rollins had a fight that was a very good match that just happened to take place in a steel cage. It reminded me a lot of the Bret Hart Owen Hart steel cage match, to where you pretty much just had the cage was utilized a couple of times, but not really a lot. It was pretty much just confined in the cage, and they had a really good wrestling match. The cage came into play for the finish and for the angle leading up to this. That's why it was in a cage. So, really good match going on. We're just back and forth, good match. We get to the end of the match. Rollins lays Punk out with a curb stomp, and the cage door is open, because in WWE, the way you win a cage match is pinfall, submission, or escape the cage. The first person to leave the cage wins the match. Keep that in mind. So, the cage door is open because, like, somebody had the option to leave the cage a few minutes before, so the cage door was still open. Rollins hits Punk with a curb stomp, and then he just sits down, like, right there in front of the cage, in front of the cage door while it's open, and you just see him staring at Punk, like, man, should we just keep this going, or should I just get out the cage? And he's just sitting there, and then out of nowhere, you just see an arm reach in the cage and pull Rollins out of the cage, and it's Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns beats the living fuck out of Seth Rollins on the outside of this ring. But seeing as how he dragged Rollins outside of the ring from the cage, and Rollins left the cage, Seth Rollins wins the match. So, this beating's going down on the outside of the ring. Unbeknownst to Paul, or unbeknownst to Roman Reigns, his wise man, his consigliere, his manager, his advocate, Paul Heyman, is in the ring helping CM Punk up. Because CM Punk and Paul Heyman have a very long history. In WWE, CM Punk is the original Paul Heyman guy. Roman Reigns sees this. He sees his wise man helping this other man. So Reigns goes in the ring, and he took and he slammed Punk against the cage, hit him with a spear, stands over him, throws up the one. So it looks like our road to WrestleMania will now include your night one main event, because make no mistake, this is the night one main event, and CM Punk finally gets his WrestleMania main event. It's going to be a triple threat: Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns. Now, people are going to say that Punk is going to cash in his favor that Paul Heyman owes him for helping Roman Reigns in this year's War Games. That would be stupid, because the match is already set up. It's already there. Punk does not need to use his favor to get in this match, because Roman wants a piece of him anyways now. And you save that for a later date. Maybe for a one-on-one match against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. I don't know. But the match last night was really good. The angle that ended the match was done perfectly. It was great. It was awesome. WrestleMania is stacking up to be a very, very, very phenomenal card this year. Maybe even better than last year's. And last year's was really good. But yeah, let's see what they do from here. Next Monday, Raw is at 3 p.m. because it is coming from Brussels. It's coming from Belgium. Yeah, that's awesome, right? And that will be the first John Cena appearance. So we're finally going to get a look at like this whole heel John Cena presentation. Like what it's going to look like, what it's going to sound like as far as the new music, the new look, his promo style, what he's going to say. A lot of questions are going to be answered next Monday. So that's going to be an interesting show, man. All right, that's all I got for you guys tonight, man. I'll hit you up here in a day or so with Spark a Match. We'll find a good match to smoke some weed to. All right, man, you guys have a good night. I'll holler at y'all later, man. Remember, hit that like button. That son bitch is right there. Hit it. Just right now. Hit it. Just bing. And subscribe. We're gonna start doing a question and answer video here shortly. I'm gonna start getting that in. So I'm gonna start an X account for this channel, and you'll be able to submit questions to that X account, or you can leave a question in the comments. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do all that shit, man. Help a brother out. Talk to y'all later.